I smoothed out my skirt and took a deep breath before pushing open the heavy oak door to Jack's new office. A fresh plaque sparkled on it. Jack Carter, CEO. My husband's head lifted from the monitor, frowning. "Nancy, I'm swamped. What's the matter?" I forced a smile across my face. "The Phillips account documents are ready, and the staff meeting is in 10 minutes. Cancel it." He waved dismissively, not looking away from the screen. I frowned. "But the team has been preparing all week." "Nancy, I said cancel it. That's an order." Pressing my lips together, I nodded and left. As I closed the door, I noticed his reflection in the glass. He was back to his work, not understanding how much his harshness hurt me. In the corridor, I leaned against the wall, trying to calm down. "Nancy, are you all right?" I flinched and met Kevin's gaze, Jack's father. Despite being retired, he often visited the office. "Just a busy morning." I forced a smile. Kevin looked intently at me. "You don't look like someone who's all right. What did my son do?" I hesitated. He's still adjusting to his new role. Power has already gone to his head. He shook his head. A sharp voice came from Jack's office. "Nancy, where are the files?" I grabbed the folder, threw an apologetic glance at Kevin, and hurried back. "Finally," my husband muttered. "Leave them here and close the door behind you." I took a step forward. "Jack, the team needs to have the meeting." "They've been preparing." He slammed his hand on the desk. "You don't understand, Nancy. I'm in charge now, and I decide what's important." I flinched at his rudeness. "I'm just trying to help. This company means a lot to your father." "Father is no longer in charge," he interrupted coldly. "I'm the boss, and if you don't like it, you can stop working here altogether." "Fine," I exhaled. "I'll cancel the meeting." I turned to leave, but at that moment the phone vibrated. "Rita, darling?" "Yes, I'm looking forward to our business meeting." My hand froze on the doorknob. The name didn't mean anything to me, but his tone? I glanced back and met his smug grin. He immediately looked at me. "Nancy, why are you still here? Don't you have work to do?" I nodded silently and left, feeling growing anxiety in my chest. The next morning, I came to the office earlier than usual. The air was tense. As soon as I appeared, conversations hushed. "Good morning, Nancy." Nicole, the lead designer, greeted me. "What about the new meeting?" I hesitated. "I'm working on it." "If you can call it that." I didn't have time to respond. Jack's voice called from his office. "Nancy, come here immediately." I hurried inside. He was pacing the room, angrily throwing a stack of papers on the desk. What the hell? I picked up the first sheet. An official complaint from the design team. They were complaining about his absence at meetings and delays in approving projects. If we had organized the meeting... He sneered with contempt. "I run a business here, not a daycare. If they don't like it, they can leave. These are people your father trusted." Anger flashed in his eyes. "My father is no longer in power. I won't let a group of designers question my decisions. What is happening?" For a moment, something like doubt flickered in his eyes, but he immediately frowned. "Just do your job. That's what you're paid for, right?" These words hit harder than he could imagine. I wasn't just an employee, I was his wife. Or so I thought. I turned, heading to the door, but at that moment the phone vibrated again. Jack looked at the screen, and a sly smile appeared on his face. "I'm leaving for lunch. Do not connect me with anyone." "But at 1 you have a meeting with clients." "Reschedule," he said, already walking out. I watched him disappear through the door. A cold knot tightened in my stomach. It was not just about work. Something was wrong. After returning to my desk, I buried myself in the routine. soothing clients, solving one problem after another. By midday, I was exhausted. A light knock on the partition made me flinch. Looking up, I saw Kevin. Worry was written all over his face. "Nancy, do you have a minute?" I nodded, grateful for the distraction. He sat across from me, studying me intently. "I heard something about Jack. How is he managing the company?" I gulped, unsure of what to say. "Kevin, He raised his hand to stop me. "You don't need to protect him." "Not from me. I've sensed something's off for a long time. I just hoped he would handle it." Tears pricked my eyes. "I'm trying," I whispered. "I don't know what to do," I whispered. "We'll figure it out together." At that moment, Jack's irritated voice echoed from his office. "Where is everyone? Is anyone here working at all?" Kevin and I exchanged glances. The storm hadn't abated. I stood up, bracing for another confrontation, but turning the corner, I froze. Jack was standing by the desk. His tie was crooked, and lipstick marked his shirt's collar. I returned home exhausted. All I dreamed of was a hot bath and a glass of wine, but as soon as I reached for the keys, the front door swung open. A blonde woman stood in the doorway, lipstick on her lips, buttons on her blouse fastened messily. "Oh, you must be Nancy," she said, quickly regaining her composure. "I'm Rita, Jack's consultant." The world swayed before me. Rita. The name from the phone call. Lipstick on the shirt. Consultant? My voice betrayed me. Rita smiled predatorily. "Oh yes, Jack and I work very closely together. He's a true strategist." Before I could respond, Jack appeared in the doorway. His face paled. "Nancy, you came back early?" I searched his face, hoping to see remorse, but there was nothing but panic. "Rita is just leaving," he mumbled and practically shoved her out the door. She smirked, getting into her car. I walked past him into the house. "Nancy, it's not what you think," he began as soon as I opened my mouth. "Don't lie to me," I interrupted. He hesitated. I didn't want it to happen this way. It just happened. I laughed bitterly. It happened, just like the company falling apart, like your disregard for the people who trusted you. His face hardened. "You don't understand. All the responsibility is on me now. Father set the bar too high. I have to get a mistress and relieve stress. Yes." He gritted his teeth. "Everything became complicated, but I'll fix it. We can fix it." I shook my head. "There is no we anymore, Jack. You ruined it all." The phone in his pocket vibrated. He looked at the screen. "Is it Rita, right?" He didn't answer. "Nancy, please." But I wasn't listening anymore. Grabbing the keys, I headed to the door. "Where are you going?" He tried to stop me. I left, got in the car, and drove off. The phone rang. "Kevin?" I hesitated, then answered. "Nancy, are you all right?" There was concern in his voice. That simple question broke me. I told him everything. He listened quietly, and then he said softly, "Come over. We'll sort it out." I turned towards his house. No more excuses. No more blind loyalty. It was time to fight for myself and the company that had become my second home. I walked into the office with my head held high, ignoring the whispers and suspicious glances. After last night's talk with Kevin, I decided to stand my ground. But nothing could have prepared me for what I saw as I rounded the corner. In the middle of the open space, amidst tense silence, stood Jack. His hand rested casually on Rita's waist. The fitted pencil skirt, neat blouse. She was a mirror image of my former style. "Friends, let me introduce Rita," he announced, breaking the silence. "She's joining our team as a special consultant." I locked eyes with him. He was expecting a scene. Rita smiled, savoring her victory. "Nancy will help her get settled," Jack added, his voice smooth, as if reciting a prepared script. All eyes turned to me. I took a deep breath, holding back a smile. "Of course. Welcome, Rita." The rest of the day was filled with strained formalities. I took refuge in my office, though my mind kept repeating one word: betrayal. Someone knocked on my door. It was Kevin. "Are you all right?" he asked seriously. I shook my head. "I don't know how much more I can take." "This has to stop," he said firmly. "I'm calling an emergency board meeting." I didn't have time to respond. Jack burst into the office, his face twisted with rage. "What the hell are you doing?" "Enough!" Kevin's voice thundered through the air. "You've turned everything I've built into a joke." Jack gave a predatory smile, pulled an envelope from his pocket, and threw it on my desk. "Consider this my first official decision." My hands trembled as I opened it. Divorce papers. Signed. "You're firing me?" Jack laughed. "No, I'm freeing you. From work, from marriage, from everything." My world collapsed. Kevin looked at his son with pain. "You don't even understand what you're doing. Rita and I will build the company's future," he replied smugly. I wasn't listening anymore. The decision came naturally. "I'll sign," I said firmly. Jack smirked. "I knew you'd understand." I met his gaze. "You're right. It's for the best, but not for the reason you think." I placed my signature and immediately felt a weight lift. "I quit," I added calmly. He paled. "What? You can't." "I already did." I walked past him, leaving him behind. "Nancy, wait!" Kevin called after me. There was more than sympathy in his eyes. "I have an offer." Later, in the cozy office of Kevin's foundation, I gripped a hot cup of tea tightly. "I want you to work at my architectural foundation," he said. "We need you." I blinked. "And the company?" "Jack made his choice. Now it's your turn." The phone vibrated. A message from Nicole. "Nancy, Jack and Rita are destroying the company. We need you." I squeezed the phone in my hand. I couldn't just walk away. The next morning, I entered the office to collect my things. Conversations hushed. Silently, I packed documents into a box when Nicole appeared in the doorway. "It's a disaster," she whispered. "Jack canceled 3 major projects. The clients are furious." I looked at her and knew. I couldn't leave it at that. "I can't do anything," I interrupted harshly. She froze. "You're leaving? What about the company?" I didn't have time to respond. Jack burst into the office, followed by an overconfident Rita, like his shadow. "Nancy, what are you doing here?" "Getting my things," I replied calmly. Jack narrowed his eyes. "Perfect. The sooner, the better. Rita is doing great with your duties." I couldn't help but laugh. "Really? Then why are the clients threatening to terminate contracts and the employees are in a panic?" She stood beside him, smirking. "I'm handling it just fine. Jack says I have real talent." "Maybe so, but it takes more than talent to run an architectural firm." Jack flared up. "Enough. Get out, Nancy." I had already grabbed the box of things when there was noise behind the door. Kevin entered the office, followed by board members. "We're holding an emergency meeting. Your recent actions are putting the company at risk." Jack paled. "You can't." "Just watch," cut off one of the board members. They headed to the conference room. Kevin turned to me. "We need your expertise. If you're willing—" I hesitated. "Leave and abandon this?" "She no longer works here. Her opinion means nothing," Rita interjected. Something clicked inside me. I put the box back down. "I think I'll stay." Jack paled. Rita gasped. Kevin just nodded approvingly. We entered the conference room. The silence was overwhelming. I laid out the reports for the past month in front of the board. "We've lost 3 major clients," I stated clearly. "The company's reputation is collapsing. Employee trust is at an all-time low." Jack scoffed. "Nonsense. We have everything under control." "Really?" intervened Kevin. "Or are you just driving the company into a crisis?" The board members exchanged glances. Rita tried to interject. "He's been working nonstop." I smirked. "You call this work? More like chaos and personal distractions." Jack clenched his fists. "You're angry because I left." I laughed bitterly. "You ruined our marriage. Now you're ruining the company. This isn't leaving. It's a fire you've started." "Mr. Harris," the senior board member coughed. "We need a leadership review immediately." There was an uproar in the room. Jack shouted, the board members argued, and I stayed silent, feeling a strange calm. Jack turned to me, panic in his eyes. "Nancy, please, we can fix this." For a moment, I saw the old Jack, scared, confused. But then, Rita pulled him close, and reality returned. I shook my head. "I'm sorry, Jack. You made your choice. Now you'll live with the consequences." Kevin stood up. I motioned for Jack's resignation. Hands rose one by one. The decision was made. The company was hanging by a thread. After the meeting, Kevin approached me. "We need your help. Will you come back?" I hesitated. Help the company I loved or start fresh? I had to choose. Before I could answer, Jack approached me. His eyes were bloodshot. There was desperation in them. "Nancy, please," he whispered. "Don't let them do this. You know me better than anyone. You know I can fix this. Give me one more chance." My gaze shifted from Jack to Kevin, feeling the weight of their expectations pressing on me. On the line was not just the company. On the line was my future. I took a deep breath and made a decision. I stood at the podium, looking out over a sea of attentive faces. The emergency meeting had been called to explain the recent changes. Now, as the interim CEO, it was up to me to set the course for the company. "As many of you know," I began, trying to keep my voice steady despite the pounding of my heart, "the past few weeks have been a real test for us. But today marks a new beginning." My eyes caught movement at the back of the room. It was Jack. He stood in the shadows, his face drawn. Rita was nowhere to be seen. "Yes, we've lost clients and faced challenges." I paused, scanning the audience. "But the heart of this company is its people. Your talent, your dedication, your vision. And that hasn't changed." A murmur of approval swept through the crowd. I continued, outlining the strategy to restore client trust and stabilize finances. I could see hope rekindling in my colleagues' eyes. And then Jack's voice cut through the air. "This is all lies!" People turned sharply towards him. He stepped forward, his face red with anger. "Nancy just wants to steal my company. She orchestrated all this to get rid of me." There were muted gasps and whispers in the hall. "Jack, this is neither the place nor the time," I parried, trying to keep my cool. "It's exactly the time," he exploded. "You turned my own father against me. You manipulated the board! Enough! Kevin's voice pierced the air like a thunderclap. He stepped forward and laid his hand on my shoulder, quietly but firmly. Jack, you brought us to this situation yourself. These are your actions, and you must answer for them. Jack's eyes darted between me and Kevin. Father, please, you can't let her do this. This is our family legacy. Kevin's face softened. Son, legacy isn't just a name on a building. It's honesty, hard work, respect for the people who work for us. Nancy understands this. It's time you did too. A tense silence fell. Everyone was waiting to see how this family drama would end. Jack's shoulders slumped. So that's it? I'm just an outcast? I stepped from behind the podium, taking a step towards him. It doesn't have to be the end, Jack. I looked directly into his eyes. You can stay here, work, and grow if you're willing to earn it. For a moment, I saw the Jack I once loved, vulnerable, unsure. But then his expression changed. The mask returned. I don't need your pity, Nancy. Not yours, not Father's. He lifted his chin. I'll start my own firm. You'll see. It will be bigger. Better. He turned sharply and left the room, leaving a ringing silence behind. I returned to the podium, feeling hundreds of eyes on me. I know it wasn't easy to watch, I said, my voice trembling only for a moment. But this is why we're here. This company isn't about one person's ego or ambitions. It's about us, about the work we do together. I scanned the audience, seeing some faces reflecting hope and others waiting for direction. I don't promise it will be easy. We have a long way ahead. I paused. But I promise that every decision I make will be for the good of the company and the people who build it. I looked at Kevin. A flicker of pride crossed his face, but there was also concern. I realized one chapter had closed, but the real test was just beginning. 6 months later, I stood at the window of my new office, looking out at the cityscape. The view had changed not just because I now worked at Kevin's foundation, but because I saw the world with different eyes. A knock on the door. Come in. Nicole entered, her face beaming. Nancy, you won't believe it. The Phillips project, we got it. I couldn't hold back a smile. This project had been my dream. Socially significant, innovative architecture. Simply fantastic. Nicole, I assume the team is thrilled, I said. They're absolutely ecstatic. She nodded, but then her expression shifted. And there's one more thing. I raised an eyebrow questioningly. Nicole took a deep breath. Jack's company filed for bankruptcy this morning. I froze. Despite everything, part of me had hoped he would find his way. And Jack himself? I asked quietly. Nicole shrugged. No one's seen him for a few days. She hesitated. But Rita came by. She was looking for work. Said Jack left her. I sank into my chair, processing the information. The man I once loved, the man I built a life with, had now become a cautionary tale. A reminder of how quickly success can crumble when built on a fragile foundation. Kevin appeared in the doorway. I heard the news. How are you? I gave a faint smile. Processing, I replied. He looked at me with pride. You've changed lives, Nancy. You turned a collapse into something beautiful. Left alone, I pondered the past. Jack, the unfulfilled dreams, Rita chasing after status only to be left with nothing. My phone vibrated. It was Jack. "Can we talk?" 6 months ago, I might have agreed. "No, sorry," I replied. "I've moved on. I hope you'll find your path too." The last threads of the past were severed. The future awaited. There was a knock on the door. The team walked in, their eyes shining with enthusiasm. "Come in," I smiled. "Let's create something incredible." I picked up a marker. This moment, this life I had built, it mattered. My worth had never depended on anyone else's opinion. It was within me all along, and this was my victory,